Good morning out there. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, we serve no other God than the one who sits high up, and no Allah is deserving to be served than the one who has seen us all through this weekend. And Joe Metal re-echoing that we will serve only God and Him who make us up. Good morning, Ghana. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, the rest of the world. It's a wonderful Monday morning. I had a fantastic weekend. I don't know about you, but I guess once you have life and I must say you can breathe, it means that you are indeed in a very good mood for a brand new week. Amma is here. George Quayle went on leave. He's back.
At this point, the church shall say amen. Amen. So it's time for offertory.
How was your leave?
But I think I really needed the rest and challenge. It's been awesome.
You look healthy.
Yeah, he looks refreshed.
Just for 2 weeks.
Yes, you ate a lot of gariwas on.
Oh no, come on.
But you know, George likes his food. He wouldn't. I mean, I'm happy he never disputes that fact. The fact that when he has his food set, he knows no one. I mean, he's not a friend to anybody. Once he's sorted, then we can have chit chat.
We can talk later.
At least the food has shown the qualities this morning. We're grateful to have you back, George.
Right.
But Johnny will also be joining us very soon in the course of the week, and some of us will bow out.
The tape measure will be here. We have to measure his waistline, his the broadness of the chest, the biceps, and then we can give him a mark.
Okay, so what are you expecting? That it will increase?
If he doesn't measure up, even that his wife is already failing.
Okay.
He's not feeding him well. Yes.
What if he's not eating well?
Well, that's not the job of a wife is to make sure a man
yes,
eats well.
She very well could make the food available, but maybe he's on a diet and he decides
Johnny will eat this.
She can't push the food down his throat. He's an adult.
We'll measure and measure and measure.
No, so what are your standards? You have like a line, you have something out there.
The standards.
But you need, this has to be science. You need to have had a baseline against which you'd measure and know if there's been an increase. You know that anyway.
But you know, it costs 0 Ghana cedis to thank God for the little things like being alive. You know, it's not like it's not wealth, but just waking up to a brand new day, it's kind of like
it's a blessing in itself. Yeah, it is. But anyway, George, you've got the news. I'm sure Midland savings will be plastered all over because we haven't had our take, and so we'll be having that very soon.
I don't know what exactly is happening to the police, but I guess if
there's a lot of work to do.
I think they need prayers.
Yeah, they do prayers.
Total overhauling.
They need to behave. They need to sit up and be disciplined and go according to their code of conduct. But anyway, George, take us away with the news.
So news is up next year on your favorite morning show, New Day. Do stay. Thanks for staying. It's time for news here on New Day. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 279. I'm George Quayle. Let's start off with the presidency, where President Akufo-Addo has cut short for the construction of a 25.7-kilometer Nasia-Janka road in the Western Mampushi district in the Northern region. The 26 million cedi project is expected to be completed by July 2020.
The road project would serve Nakwaya, Zualugu, Alavanyo, Sokore, Fio number 1 and 2, Fungu, Soba, Tia, Salugu, and Cham communities. President Akufo-Addo expressed confidence the project would boost the production of staples such as rice, maize, soya beans, cowpeas, and sorghum, for which the West Mampushi district is noted for. This, he added, will help realize government vision of ensuring self-sufficiency in the production of staples in the country and also help ensure that Ghana becomes a net exporter of food and other agricultural produce. On the proposed creation of the Northeast region, the president noted that at least 50% of persons entitled to vote must vote in each of the different referenda, of which at least 80% must be cast in favor of the creation of a region for the demand to be met.
The creation of the Northeast region is taking place at a very good time in the history of Mamprugu For the first time for many years, there is complete peace in the Mamprogo traditional area. The conflict in Bonkrogo has come to an end with the support of the Nairi and the intervention of the chiefs. There is now complete peace and calm in the Mamprogo area. We want the same peace and calm all over Ghana so that we can get on with the process of rapid social and economic development. 60 years after independence, we're not where we should be. The time has come for us to move to where we should be. And under Akufo-Addo's government, we're going to move right there.
And now some nurses wear ordinary clothes to and from work while others stick to their official uniforms. Community Jenfi has been finding out the rationale behind the trend.
It's 2 p.m. on a Friday. Nurses at all government hospitals are either about to close or start work. After approaching some of them, I was told nurses in Mufti always have their uniforms to change once they enter the hospital. So what is their motivation for wearing their uniforms in public places? Is it to attract attention or to prove that they are associated to the noble profession?
We are not actually supposed to wear the uniform and walk in town, buy stuff. So probably they want to buy some other things, they want to go to the market or something. So then what they do is then they have to change, or probably they are going somewhere.
I choose to put on my house attire because I think there are infections on the ward and I don't want to carry that to the house.
Probably I'm late or something. I wouldn't want to come and change before I go to work, so I'll just wear it from the house.
President of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association, Kweku Asante Krobia, explained, though not a written policy, it is always advisable for nurses to wear their uniforms only when they are carrying out their duties.
In our parlance, we call it a nosocomial infection. The likelihood that you pick this infection from the ward and you can take it to the public, where probably you have finished work, you're going home and you sit in a trotro or taxi. That one you can transfer to members of the public, and that is why I'm saying it makes a lot of sense to say that you may have to put it off you when you finish work in the ward. And so whilst the nurse goes into her apron and even the cap that is wearing, it's supposed to take away a considerable amount of infection-causing agents.
But our checks in some hospitals showed that not all nurses even wear their aprons and caps when on duty. Mrs. Benedicta Kisi practiced for 45 years as a general nurse and a midwife, both in and outside Ghana, and currently runs her own private hospital in Accra. She explained lack of strict supervision on the part of nurses' managers has resulted in this practice.
So if the matron is strict, you know that when you finish work, you have to change your uniforms before you go. And they have some people who are elderlies who take care of the uniforms for us. You never take them home. You wash them in the hospital because the hospital has a laundry like Kolebu. Formally, all nurses have their linen bag that you can send your bag to the laundry in the Kolebu, and after some time you go and collect it.
The GRNMA president admitted the practice has worked better in hospitals where there are enough changing rooms and lockers. Nurses I encountered admitted there are enough lockers in their various hospitals to enable them keep their healthcare attire at the hospital, but this particular nurse would simply not change for personal reasons.
I think it's hectic for me, like coming to change. I don't have that time because I wear my uniform from home. That's why I sew this one, to protect the uniform.
So far, there are no statistics to prove how nurses have over the years transferred any form of bacteria to the public, but Kweku Asante Krobia says this is a worrying trend which should be prevented. Kwabena Edu Jenfi, TV3.
Away from the health sector, let's shift to the executive, where government is to set up a 5-member committee to investigate the killing of 7 suspected armed robbers by the police in the Ashanti region. Inner City and Zongo Development Minister Alhaji Abubakar Siddiq Boniface made this known after meeting with families of the deceased in Kumasi. Here's a report by Ibrahim Abubakar.
Inner City and Zongo Community Minister Alhaji Abubakar Siddiq Boniface held meetings with leadership of the Zongo community as part of measures to restore peace and order at Asawase and the entire Asokore Mampong municipality. He commiserated with the youth over the death of their colleagues and pleaded with them to allow due process to prevail to ensure peace. The minister has hinted of the constitution of an independent committee to investigate the matter.
I believe this independent committee will be without the police because of the police involvement in the whole matter. It is only the investigative team that will be able to establish whether they were genuine children we had or they were robbers, and whether the results as quickly as possible.
The minister reiterated government resolve to ensure there is a lasting solution to the matter. He called on the entire Zongo community to be patient, since the Islamic religion itself stands for peace. Some youth in the Asawase constituency earlier this week staged violent protests in reaction to the killing of 7 young men in the area. They insisted the young men were not armed robbers, as the police claimed in 8 reports. The police announced on Tuesday that 7 out of the 8 suspected robbers, whose attack reportedly led to the death of a police officer with a SWAT unit of the Ashanti Regional Police Command, had been gunned down after a gun battle. But families of some of the deceased persons have disputed the claims by the police. The 5-member independent committee would comprise of a renowned Muslim cleric, a clergy from the Christian religion, an independent investigator, a conflict resolution expert, and 1 other person.
Just so you know, you're watching news here on New Day. We are live on DSTV channel 279. Meanwhile, President Akufo-Addo says recommendations of the 5-member committee will be swiftly implemented to promote peace. He gave the assurance at Savlugu in the northern region when he cut short for the construction of a factory for the district.
Savlugu, now we're talking about peace in Dagmar and in Savlugu. We have also to think about peace in our nation. Recently, events have occurred at the instigation of the police that disturbed the peace of our country. I've already spoken about what took place at the Midland Loans and Savings Bank in East Legon in Accra. The other day, too, a tragedy occurred in Asawase. We're establishing a committee of inquiry to look into those events and make recommendations as to the way forward. I want to assure the country that the recommendations that will come from the committee will be ones that will be scrupulously implemented and enforced by the government to make sure that incidents like that never happen again.
You can engage us on stories aired so far on our social media platforms. On Facebook is News on TV3 and on Twitter is the News TV3. Let's now go to the Kwabre in the Ashanti region, where Kente weavers want the establishment of a yarn factory to reduce the cost of producing the traditional cloth. They made the request ahead of the maiden Kwabre and Wene Festival intended to boost trade and promote tourism in the district. Here's a report by Beatrice Spugaba.
The Kwabre enclave, bordering Boire, Adamwomase and Ebira, is noted for the weaving of kente and other Edinkra cloth. Although the weaving demands a lot of skill, both the young and old are into kente weaving, with most households owning a loom for production. Trading in kente is very lucrative, generating employment for the youth in some communities. Prices of kente are relatively cheaper here, although the weavers and traders say it could be far cheaper if the yarns are produced locally. The weavers depend on imported yarns from China, and this, they say, affects the price of the kente cloth.
Especially the trade. It's an imported goods that they imported from China. They put the taxes high on it, so it's affecting the kente business. when the dollars come down, they can reduce it.
The municipal chief executive for Kwabre East, Nana Ose Sibe Bunsu, says the assembly is pushing for the establishment of a yarn factory under the government's One District, One Factory initiative.
Kente, and then we have this wood carving at Ega, and then bees making at Dumanafo. So we decided that we bring all these crafts together, which will be celebrated annually, so that we let people know what we can produce. That one will bring more tourists to Kwabre.
First ever Kwabre Arini Festival will help stimulate both domestic and international tourism while generating income for craftsmen in the municipality.
And now the Forestry Commission has suspended all reclamation activities in forest reserves across the country. The move, according to the Commission, is to review and take stock of operations of private contractors engaged in the reclamation exercise. Here's a report by Benjamin Edu.
The reclamation exercise became necessary following the devastation caused with the country's forest reserves by the illegal miners. The Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, Kwadwo Owusu-Afriyie, at a meeting with the Ashanti Regional House of Chiefs, announced the suspension of the reclamation exercise. He observed the abuse of authorization notes and use of letters to illegally mine in the forest.
Most of them have not been doing things in accordance with the letters and the contract that we have entered with them. I have consequently withdrawn all letters and all permits given to such companies.
Officials of the Forestry Commission were invited to brief the Regional House of Chiefs on the payment and sharing formula of timber royalties. Owusu-Afriyie said measures have been put in place to prevent delays in releasing timber royalties.
We had to calculate what at any given moment of time, the amount of money that we receive, and then the 25% that should come to the Nananum and for the stool, and that is precisely for them.
Per the formula of sharing royalties, district assemblies take a chunk of 55%, whilst the administrator of stool lands, the traditional stools, and the traditional councils share the rest. The Asantehene Otumfuo II said it is important for traditional authorities to question how district assemblies spend their 55% share on development. The Asantehene called for greater collaboration between traditional rulers and the state in the fight against illegal mining, popularly called galamsey. He said the government should appreciate the role of chiefs in protecting lands.
The galamsey that has destroyed our environment is because government does not seek the consent of chiefs before awarding concessions to mining companies. It is time government, as well as parliament, sat down with us chiefs to discuss and deliberate before the permit and mining leases are given out.
The event coincided with the swearing-in of the chief of Asante Bekwai, Nana Ose Kwadwo Abebio, into the Ashanti Regional House of Chiefs.
And now the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, John Peter Amewu, has warned mining companies against depleting the country's resources without proportional benefits. According to him, even though government is ready to provide the right operating climate, no work would be allowed without equal revenue in return.
The minister was speaking at the Ghana Manganese Company in Nsuta in the Takwa Nsawam municipality of the Western region, where he led a joint delegation from his ministry and the Minerals Commission. The visit was to enable the team acquaint themselves with the operations of the company, assess their level of compliance with the mining law, learn at first hand their challenges and how they could be addressed. The Chief Operating Officer of the company, Benjamin Achukwashi, said the company intends to increase its production levels from 2 million tons to 4.8 million tons this year. John Peter Amewu expressed concern that the company has not demonstrated commitment to ensure there is a corresponding benefit to the state.
If your driving intention is just to increase production targets, production volumes, and take the resources out of this country, so long as I remain a minister for lands and natural resources, that depletion policy would not be allowed. I would not entertain it, because I want to see that to go along with increasing revenue for this country.
He expressed as negligible the level of development at Nsuta, though mining of bauxite began actively in 1916.
Government for the years have lost so much, and that is why we're going from mines to make sure that the right thing is done. Corporate social responsibility, if you're really undertaking your corporate social responsibility, the road that we drive on, a distance of just about 200 meters, should not be on this state. It is unfair.
Benjamin Achukwashi assured government of its commitment to make its operations beneficial to the country.
In fact, we have a feasibility study done to come up with this road or construct a road from here to Takoradi, but it's a matter of time. We have actually set a target in terms of the Ghanaians that will be working here.
The municipal chief executive for Takwa Nswayim, Gilbert Kenneth Asma, tasked the company to team up with other mining companies to give roads in the municipality a facelift.
And now let's shift to the foreign front, where a gunman dead after shooting 9, including girl, in Toronto. 9 people, including a young girl, were shot near downtown Toronto, police in Canada's biggest city said on Sunday, and the gunman was dead. The condition of the victims was not known yet, Toronto police said on their Twitter feed. Police, paramedics and firefighters converged on the site of the shooting in Toronto's East End, which has many popular restaurants, cafes and shops. Reports of gunfire in the city's Greektown neighborhood began at 10 p.m. local time. Witnesses said they heard 25 gunshots, the news website reported. Toronto is grappling with a sharp rise in gun violence this year. Deaths from gun violence in the city jumped 53% to 26 so far in 2018 from the same period last year. Police data last week showed with the number of shootings rising 13%. News here on New Day. Just so you know, you can get more news updates on our website, TV3NEWDAY.com. I'm Josh Quinny. Thanks for watching. New Day continues right after this break. Good morning.
It's a lovely morning. Let's update you on what the newspapers have because of the stories that made headlines over the weekend. We'll start off with Daily Graphic, and it says, Midland suspends 5 workers and to compensate women. That's a story on page 16 of the Daily Graphic. Also, shareholders say we'll recapitalize Unibank. And that's an insert of Dr. Kwabna Dufour. Also, Barclays is now part of the ABSA family. If you want to find out more, it's on pages 2, 5, and 18 of Daily Graphic. And then read Graphic and win 1,000 Ghana cedis daily from today. Then Asumdre Park is in ruins. There's a picture there showing what really is happening in Asumdre Park. Then also BNFT carries some stories. It says more than $21 million is lost annually as revenue because of under-declaration and misclassification, and then also the port systems is partly to blame. And it says exposed rice importers stealing millions from government. Then also fresh capital eludes banks as investors gauge regulators' mood. Then government releases 366 million cedis for planting for food and jobs. Then Ghanaian Times also has these stories. MTN has handed over a 5.5 million cedi maternity block to the Tema General Hospital. And so 2018, WASI records 1.8% increase passes in 4 core subjects. Then assault of defenseless women at Midland Bank. President slams cop and urges IGP to take punitive measures against the policeman. And there's an insert of Frederick Amano, the policeman being faulted in the Midland issue. Also, the Finder carries interesting stories. It says, due to increase in enrollment, free SHS requires 1.3 billion Ghana cedis. Alternative double-track system is to cost 323 million cedis. Also, President Akufo-Addo at Asawase says, in the northern region, says the Asawase incident must never happen again. Then 23,000 government workers earn above 10,000 Ghana cedis per month. That's coming from the Deputy Minister of Finance. Then MTN Foundation has commissioned a new 5.5 million maternity block at Tema General Hospital. Then Daily Guide carries interesting stories by saying the cops' brutal attack on woman. The inside story, KNet refutes Midland claims. Then government probes police killings of the 7 suspected armed robbers. Then again, MTN has built a maternity ward for the Tema General Hospital. So these are the stories on the front pages of our newspapers this morning. Right. Interestingly, the Midland Bank issue made headlines over the weekend because I think the videos that were circulating were, I mean, unfortunate. We keep saying this, and I don't think in this time would have such an issue occurring again. Because over the past weeks, we've been talking about it. We've been talking about how the people in uniform seem to, you know, be the ones to abuse the law just because they're in uniform and they have weapons. They think they have the authority above everyone, forgetting that they themselves are under the law and they're the very people who have to even demonstrate what the law says so that we as citizens can follow suit. But they're the very people who are seen breaking the law repetitively. We talk about how, you know, when it comes to dealing with their own issues, they tend to be very gruesome. We had the situation at Asawase where we're not sure whether they were really suspected armed robbers or not, and how because one policeman was, you know, gunned down, they all seem to have taken the law into their own hands to do these things. I don't think they're working professionally as it is, because there's a code of conduct by which you have to perform your duties, and if you know it, why would you go against it at any point in time unless this is your inherent nature to do so? And that's why I have a problem with how then they are trained and whether people actually, you know, because this wouldn't be a first time incident. No, I mean, if it's your nature, by default, it was when you're pushed to the wall, then you would exhibit it. But in this situation, I mean, the story doesn't even add up, because why would you want to beat up a woman who's coming for her due? It's a simple thing. You are not even a banker. You are just there to provide security against armed robbers or anyone who threatens the security of the company. If you thought she was a threat, I think what you should have done is take her out of the building in an humanly possible way, not beat her, not fist her. And this is a man to a woman who is carrying a baby. How emotionless and how, I mean, inhumane can you be to that point? I was very upset about the story, and I've heard people trying to make reason for the policeman and ask for the president to intervene and, you know, absorb whatever is going on. But I think it's unpardonable. There's nothing. Exactly. What is the president supposed to do? This man has not even come out to say, well, I don't even think you'd be given the chance to say anything, because it's obvious what he has done. But Bright, this is not the first person. Many people do it, and we're only fortunate to have captured it on video. And again, that's also an issue where people are just taking videos rampantly, and so now even no one was there to stand in the gap for the woman to intercede and say, I think you're going too far, let's stop at this point. Where has our humane nature gone to? We're just throwing it to the wind.
Yes, I'm happy the president waded into this. I saw a story also on, I think, the Daily Graphic. Strach is suggesting, also angry, suggesting some things to be done. I'm sure once the police are in there, it will get to a proper conclusion. But I think that, again, we're back to this debate of who gets to wear the police uniform. I'm sure over the weekend you also heard about that incident in the Eastern region where a police officer, in attempt at bringing order for a bullion van to go through a funeral cortege, ended up killing the driver. But I want to say a lot of, I think that we need to get back to the drawing table, take a look at who these policemen are. I mean, look, it is only in Hollywood movies that you can find an Schwarzenegger holding a gun and able to kill 500 people at a time. See, these policemen in the Eastern region, you saw a funeral cortege. I'm just making an assumption that there were more than 200 people in that group going to bury someone. So he thought that his gun could protect him. Can that gun kill, even if there were 50, can that gun kill all 50? So that if you shot one person, shot two, shot three, shot four, shot five, the rest will just pounce on you and kill you there and then. So if I were that policeman, I mean, we drive to funeral court all the time. You're traveling, weekends, you get to a village, there's a funeral march to the cemetery, you take your time. Even if you were in a bullion van, you could have gotten out without your gun. The excuse is that someone attacked him and the gun went off. It means that he had cocked the gun. And cocked the gun to do what? To fire into the crowd and scare them. when there's a mob and you fire and you kill 2, the rest will pounce on you and kill you. So it goes back to the beginning. Let's see how these men are trained. But you see, the banks too have issues. Look, let me tell you a story. An old man walked into a bank. She wanted to go and withdraw 100. So she signed a check and gave it to the teller and said, "Madam, please cash this money for me." She was quite an old, very aged. So the teller wanted to be nice to that old woman. So she looked at the check and it was 100. She says, "Madam, you have to use ATM to withdraw 100 cedis." And then the old lady insisted that, "Please, I want to use a check. This teller won't batch." So the old lady said, "How much do I have in my account?" She said, "I have 3 billion cedis." "Okay, so how much can I withdraw with check?" The teller said, 10,000. She put her checkbook, wrote a 10,000 cedis on the check and gave it to the teller. The teller obliged, took the check and gave her the 10,000 cedis. She put 100 cedis from the 10,000 cedis, put 100 cedis in her bag and gave the remaining to the teller and said, "Madam, can you again redeposit it in my account for me?"
Simple.
You see,
right.
The lesson in this story is that rules are made, but when it gets to a certain point, we must be flexible with the rules. If this woman, the bank was closing at 4, okay, and we needed to get her out, did this police officer profile her if she was a threat, if she stays in there? Did she profile her? Would the bank have said that, "Look, policeman, come and profile this woman. Is she a threat? We are closing our doors. She doesn't want to go. Come and profile her and keep her somewhere." Okay? Then you can get her to remain in the bank, do whatever you're doing, and then maybe at a point in time, she will calm down and leave the premises. A police officer fighting a woman, slipping, you could see the video, slipping. It was so embarrassing for me. Okay, slipping and falling and getting up, and a police officer doing that. Okay, so we should be a bit, careful in handling these things. I am happy the president has come in, and sure, the IGP, we're told, has taken up the matter. Let's see where it goes.
But Bryce, where did the woman go wrong in going to seek her money?
Yeah, that's the point.
She
that's
deposited herself at a bank or a savings and loan.
She's gone against, as we're told that the bank was closing and so she needed to be out.
But we hear that wasn't the first time she was there. And that's where I feel the bank erred on many, accounts. If I have money with you and for some reason you can't provide to me, you say your network is down, which is usually the excuse they give when they don't have money or they don't want to give you your money. Of course, then the woman will feel there's something going wrong, there's something fishy. And prior to this, apparently in that same savings and loans, they've had issues where people feel it's about to collapse or there's something financially going wrong. And so she probably doesn't have security in that system and she wants her money out. For crying out loud, she has issues. It's her money. She put it in there for a particular time, maybe such as this. She works. It is something she came to put. You didn't ask her or you didn't beg her to bring her money. She brought it willingly. If she comes to you asking for it, this is the kind of punishment you give her. Really? Anyway. I wonder anyway who will still be saving with it. And then the company comes out to give out some, excuse of some sort. Well, now KNet is saying they don't have any, records of them applying or saying they have issues with their internet. Network. So what is the problem?
Maybe they were going to tell KNet the next day or something.
Well, but then came late,
rather
late for them.
Daily rant. There's this story on the front page of the Daily Graphic where the Education Ministry is suggesting that the 2018 WASI had a 1% increase passes in 4 course subjects.
But people still feel it's an elective.
I thought I would have seen a story suggesting that if you remember, I think last week when the results were released, the FindThat reported that 190,000 or so, if I'm correct. Right. Elvis, good morning. I hope I am right. 190,000 students can't make it to the university because they fell outside A1C6. Right. So I thought I would have seen a story about what we're going to do to these 190,000 because I've heard the Minister of State in charge of Education, Professor Yanka, suggesting a look at this D7 thing that disallows people from entering the universities. So I thought I would have seen the Education Ministry say that we are speeding up that process to ensure that this 190,000 cities, if you want to go to the university, are able to get there. But if you tell me 1.8% increase over 2017 passes, And so what? Is that the standard? We want to have 1% increase every year? Is that what we're looking for?
Anyway, Bright, it's time for us to rant. And like we've been saying, the public seems to have lost confidence in the security system. What are your views as we rant this morning with Eric from TV3NEWDAY?
The relationship gap between the Ghana Police Service and the general public appears to be widening. Some, and I must say some personnel of the Ghana Police Service appear to be trigger happy. They have developed the uncomfortable penchant in shooting people to death on the mere suspicion that they are criminals, even without a court of competent jurisdiction declaring them as such. This morning on Daily Rant, we want to find out how, as a society, we've been able to get to where we are and what we can do to stem the tide. This is your Daily Rant with me, Eric Hiaweje.
It is becoming quite unfortunate that things of that nature are happening in our 21st century, but we need to be extra careful when it comes to the condemnation of the police. We should first of all allow independent investigation to be conducted before we find out if indeed these people were guilty as the police claim. Other than that, we may just be condemning the police, unfairly.
But it is becoming one too many, Nana.
Yes, it is. It is becoming one too many. I think that the professionalism when it comes to the police, the IGP ought to look at that. The unfortunate thing is that usually, we are in this country where the way they recruit, we all know the politicking that goes into it. And so instead of putting more or less, instead of us becoming primarily concerned about people who are ready and willing to do policing, we are rather giving first consideration to partisanship.
First of all, the major issue our police personnel should, or top officials should look at is the recruitment, the intake. I think that there's a major issue. There's been a lot of partisan and nepotism in there. And because these things happen, we are unable to recruit the best. This minister comes, there's so much pressure on him. This MP comes, there's so much pressure on him now, he has to create jobs. And so, even if the person doesn't qualify, he will be forced to push that person in the service so that he can also retain his position as an MP or a DC or a minister.
On there, you street obi for the away armed robber. Now say you find there say what we trumpo about that. The police, they are better trained. First of all, you don't shoot to kill, you shoot to maim. So when you maim the person will have the opportunity to go to the hospital. And the so-called hospital will treat him and say there is an opportunity to seek redress. Then there will be that opportunity to seek redress. In the early 2000s, they had some people called Kufuor police. They just did not even have any kind of, they did not attach this special training, whatever. Why are there job for the boys to be them? But when it comes to the police, a state institution for that matter, you need people with high acumen, you need people who are ready and willing to serve.
One of the issues I think police for also adopted this shoot and kill is our judiciary system. I think that they've had a lot of complaint about how and manner some of the judges also handle these cases, giving meager sentences and all those things. It's also a disincentive to the police service. What the Neko courts, Yamanu 2 years, 3 years. Some of them, what the Neko Yamani bail. The very person who they know is a criminal is emboldened. Another issue is as a police officer who say a customer service, they are serving people. Because Eric, you know, say, Oko elsewhere in Europe, say, who a problem? The first point of call is police. I know it is not like that. The police rather think say, omo ye citizen favor, say, or born home by near there. With that having at the back of the mind, say, or some a service your some. Here, Eduanajo, police form war duty, and upper police form war duty. Who goes there to monitor their activities? Who goes there to monitor their operations? How do you rank their output? Unlike in the private sector, as a lecturer, there, you were a head of department, or monitor the performance. Yet the evaluation for member student be measure lecture and performance.
this junior, no, we don't see that. Say even cross a police in our banker, impendo do say and a senior officer, Eco Bank or Eco Business say, oh, a branch away the performance to say
if he's in the right frame of mind.
The point is that the police usually these days they are equally under attack by these same armed robbers, and so you don't expect the police to hold on, because we were here when a police escort, was killed, barbarically killed, I think in Takwa, right? Yeah. The police are equally human beings, so they must equally protect themselves. That's the very first thing they must do. So if they are first of all attacked, you don't expect the police to look on. They will equally definitely defend themselves. The unfortunate aspect is that if they defend themselves, we expect them, since they are professionally trained, to shoot to maim, but not to shoot to kill. So these things are quite unfortunate. I think that the police will have to up their game by doing a lot of publicity. They need to educate. We need to see that they are incorporating a lot more professionalism in the way they handle affairs. It fits into the superstructure. The structure is corruption. Do you get the point? My colleague was saying something today, they don't really like the judgment that is given to some of these so-called armed robbers and other things, leaves some kind of sour taste in our mouth. No, for the person to be sent to the court and then he gets a certain judgment that they think the person deserves more, it means that the judge might have been compromised along the line. You send somebody, you are incarcerated, within no time you are bailed. These people then still become a threat onto the very society that the police is protecting. Into so bandam they no say can be the one obey you if you are accidental obey you if you are. Because there are people who are killed for state security.
Let's look at a scenario. Sisi and Esha, Nkofo prefer to call the radio stations to report an incident instead of calling the forces. What is accounting for this?
What is accounting for it is that police for Nankasa are failing to investigate issues to the latter, and also serving as a link, between the community and the police, has been lost. So they say, because of the police, they lack logistics in terms of transport, in terms of communication and other things. Who can complain about police in here? Police in here say for taxi man on neanko. Or consular transportation man bibi kakra. In Pakwan Yachina, yase una to animano. Ni Pakwan also no say Yachina bail in Subemua. I saw Tieska. And they say no, Nkofo Fili say they've done a lot of complaints to the police. BBM PMO. Nkofo bebre why we are monioma. BBM PMO. Ubisa no say oh police no. And I think that intelligence gathering in terms of community policing, which was started by the then COP Muhammad Al-Hassan, the IGP then, they and together with COP Rosatinga Bill, they wanted to do this community policing, police visibility. They did that. It was a wonderful idea, but at a point it was misplaced because you see them in cities more than in residential areas. And residential areas, researchers say hold on cost more than the cities. And with all these factors coming to play, people think that okay, because they want that satisfaction, whether say you didn't say man once he or she is heard, what me I can ask them, not that I would DNA free there. He's happy. So I'll go to the media. Where in the court of public opinion, Nkofo say, "Oh, you're right."
This is mass aggravated assault. It's just an aggravated assault. A woman, for that matter, holding, a child or a baby, and then you are assaulting the person. As long as the person was even holding that child, you ought to have stopped. I mean, what is this? The person is not coming to steal. I also do not know the kind of thing the woman might have said to the police. Women are women.
It's like the policeman was so provoked.
Was so provoked. As some teacher or catcher, a branch or police now, or my police, odi besiana dam. The mass way see. But if he's found guilty, I would think that they don't have to sack him in the first place. It's an assault. He's acted unprofessionally. I think that they should give the woman about 40% of the man's salary for a whole year as a kind of compensation, so that he will be spending only 60% of his salary.
I think that this policeman, ye be investigative partner. Eye bibia bank na share. Eye savings alone na share omoye. Because you see, if you listen to the woman careful, woman is on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm told say this woman is not the first victim of an assault. And it is the bank and me to me them feel say or mama does policeman no instruction say don't put fear in the woman in people, not even the woman, in other customers. And it is unfortunate that this one went beyond the putting fear. No, left to me alone, the investigative team should start picking CCTV footages for the past 2 weeks and series of events within.
One and no video no.
What's a worker there?
Because at the time Besiano or no not said what happened. She was not supposed to be there. Only to a policeman or act in that manner. It's not that one Ankasana there where it was savings and loans company in Ankasa one. Workers need be on Jehon.
So one thing that is very clear is how we train people for the Ghana Police Service. But me, in my opinion, I believe that in certain situations, you don't need training. Common sense ought to prevail. This has been your daily rant with me, Eric Yawde from Takoradi. Thank you so much for spending your time with us.
All right, welcome back to the show. Now, you've already seen the front pages. Times carries the story at Midland Savings and Loans. The police officer here is there. Daily Guide has the same story. It tells the inside story. That's how Daily Guide puts it. Daily Graphic has the Asomdwe Park story, the late Professor Mills's resting place. It says it's in ruins. The finder touches on Free Senior High School and the double intake, or what they call the double track system, to cost 332 million. We need about 1.3 billion cities to deal with that. My guest this morning, the Member of Parliament for the Secondary Constituency, a member of the NPP, Honorable Ndweji Pamesa, is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you had a fantastic weekend.
Yes, it was okay. Except that I had to do a lot of shuffling in between Accra and...
yeah, that's a lot of driving, I guess. Yeah. Grateful God brought you back to Accra safely. And then former Member of Parliament for the North Dine constituency, a member of the NDC, Honorable George Lowe is also here. Good morning too.
Good morning.
Hope your weekend was good too.
Well, very packed, but exciting.
All right, thanks for coming back. You've been away for some time. Let's start the conversation this morning. Let's take a look at, we'll try and get Amnesty International to join us to discuss the assault on the woman at the Savings and Loans Company. The issue in Kumasi, government is to set up a committee to take a look at what happened. And then another attack in Koforidua, we're told, not an attack, but a policeman accidentally shot and killed a bullion driver. Amnesty International official will be joining us in the course of the conversation to discuss that. So let's start this conversation with the Daily Graphic this morning. Now, there's a story here, Asomdwe Park in ruins, and I'm sure you know Asomdwe Park by now, the resting place of the former president. We're told supposed to be a presidential mausoleum. Now, the story by Ken Oseminta says that Ghana's first presidential mausoleum, the Asomdwe Park, and the burial ground of the late President John Evans Atta Mills is in disarray. Checks Daily Graphic conducted indicate that the park was no longer secure as the center's security had been breached and no longer held firmly together. The condition of the late president's tomb is nothing to write about, as some parts of the fencing protecting it have broken down. Meanwhile, that's tomorrow, with the 6th anniversary of the death of Professor Mills. The good news Daily Graphic is reporting is that a source had told the paper that government had released funds to keep the place in good shape prior to the 6th anniversary. About 2 weeks ago, the government deployed artisans, including welders, electricians, and carpenters, to take inventory of the place. Funds have been released to keep the place in good condition for the 6th anniversary, which would be held there. That's what the sources said. That's the story in the Daily Graphic. You can read more about that. Let's start a conversation on this. Again, we are back to the same debate we have had over and over again, managing public state property, maintenance. And it's not, this is a presidential mausoleum. Roads, schools, hospitals, maintenance is a problem. Another example we have to talk about it. George, are we going or we are coming?
Good morning, Bright, and good morning, my brother. Sorry, I haven't seen you in a while. Bobo. And let me say good morning to our cherished viewers. Particularly, let me say good morning to our viewers in the Volta region. It will interest you to know that I've come back, and I've heeded the call of the rank and file of the Volta region. And tomorrow, all things being equal, I'm filing for regional secretary.
Oh, okay.
So they should watch out.
I'm sure Bobo will be there to support.
Yeah, Bobo has already declared his support.
Yeah.
And that's very exciting.
Great.
What is my locus within your party to declare support?
A good friend.
A friend, so you can go and support
potential, a friend and a potential admirer.
I don't intend to ever belong to the NDC.
Well, it's
but of course, being my friend, I wish him the best. But I cannot declare support for him.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't have locus within the party to, as it were.
Well, support is Candimora.
If you appear on his campaign platform as a friend.
Oh, really? On an NDC campaign platform?
Yes, but
well,
we're told that.
Trust me, it's not going to happen.
We're told that Mr. Bagbin actually supported the majority leader during the last election. So
well. But I'm not going to do it.
Okay, all right. Let's move on.
Yes. So let's move on. So that's the news out there. So
okay, great.
My heart goes out to all our people. This is very sad story, but it's also not surprising because of the angle from which you took it. It is. I still wonder why we simply cannot put something up and maintain it across board. We've had beautiful national monuments that we put up. Then a year down the line, it goes into this. Then it goes into rains. It's not maintained, unless and until something happens. We don't go back there to find out. And it has consistently led to, for me, wastage. Take Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum. It's supposed to be a monument that should generate money for us. We have the icon, the African of the millennium. You understand? Where we expect people to come. Go to our forts and castles. No maintenance. You are going to Cape Coast, you are going to all the other forts and castles. And you see, we are not talking about changing the character of the place. But you can maintain the pristine nature of the place just by maybe a little makeover from time to time. There are curators there and things like that. I don't see our libraries. Now, coming back to Asumtwe Park in particular, this is a park that we have declared as part of our whole national heritage, as our presidential mausoleum. So we have buried one president there. The expectation is that we'll put the place in such a state that people who either knew the prof academically or in politics or internationally, because and all that would occasionally want to pay homage. You could even, in other places, you could even charge a little something for the maintenance of the place. I don't know why it hasn't been done. We've all been talking about it. In fact, the whole week, last weekend, this weekend, I know that discussions have been going on. The challenge has been that The NDC was willing to go and do some work there, but it's a state facility. You can't just walk in there, you know. So we were wondering if it is true that government itself have seen the need to release funds for the place we put in shape. Fine, I think that's the step in the right direction. But more importantly, we should change our psyche towards our national. And I mean, we are now. Look, I don't know the last time you've been to the Accra International Conference Center.
Oh yeah.
It is not a conference compared to other places we attend conferences.
It's not in the state.
It's not in the state in which it should be. Yes, you know, and so I worry really about some of these things. So clearly, I think that we need to go back to the basics. We have professionals we pay every month to be in charge of these facilities. Why are they not working? And look, right, to add, as I drive around town, we have Kwame Nkrumah circle, that circle, this circle, that circle, this circle, that park and things like that. What do you see? Does it inspire you? We are talking about beautification. Are we just paying lip service? You know, or that, you know, we understand it when we say that we want, for instance, Accra to be the most beautiful city in the world, or the most beautiful city in Africa. At least let's even make it the most beautiful city in West Africa. But the way we are doing things, and you mentioned roads, you mentioned other things, I still cannot understand why we would have a contractor construct a road. The islands are left bare. Even debris of the whole construction is not collected by the roadside. And yet we pay them their certificates and they go scot-free into another place to cause another mess. State buildings. Sometimes you go, we are inaugurating a state facility, and the horticultural aspects of it has not been done, and they'll finish up. They never get to finish. The guy gets paid and he goes away. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Aesthetics is also part of the beauty of anything that we do. In fact, that is what actually brings out the beauty. I mean, and then the greenery and all that. We are losing all of those. What even annoys me is, you see this, what do you call it? Those small blocks, pavement blocks. They are sometimes so badly done that instead of beautifying the place becomes very ugly looking. And yet my question every day is, there are people who we are paying every month, when the salary doesn't come, is hell, to put these things straight. What does it cost us to say? You know that in a contractor's contract, there's always that money, the retention. Right. That you finish, you run for a while. The retention gets paid some way, somehow, when the job has not been done, when the job has not been finished. Why are we doing this to ourselves? So, Bright, I think that is something that needs a national conversation once again, and we should start pointing things into the right direction.
Mesa, and so, and for me, this is not a new debate at all. Maintaining public property has always been the case. We put them up, and the rest is history. How can we check this?
Well, good morning, to my very good friend and yourself, and to our cherished viewers, particularly those in my constituency second day. It's pretty much disheartening, you know, to see a front page story on the national newspaper, Asundje Park in ruins. I mean, when I saw the headline, I'm like, wow. And, you know, like you said, it's unfortunate how we as a people, you know, take maintenance as something that is not important. I mean, you know, these things cost money to build, and I'm sure that if it had been maintained regularly, the amount of money that has been devoted now would have been relatively less. So constant maintenance ultimately leads to some cost saving, as opposed to leaving the item or the property to go into a state of decay before you spend huge sums of money to put it back in shape. Like it or not, this has been set up with public funds to be some presidential mausoleum, if you like, I do not know to what extent other presidents would be buried there. Because effectively it's the families who decide where they want, or even the individuals themselves who decide where they want to be buried at the end of the day. But I believe that the late professor's family felt that, owing to the work that he'd done, if government at the time felt the need to set up a special place close to the seat of government, or the former seat of government, if you like, for something like this, they would abide and let him be buried there. It's unfortunate, and like you said, and my very good friend George has said, we have a culture of lack of maintenance that is not good. I mean, we all travel around the world and we see buildings. 2 days ago, I was watching some advertisement piece on CNN. I think Two Faces, Japan, where the old and the new has blended, and it's something that is being documented and it's shown across the globe. Go to our old communities, the old Accra, and you'll be surprised. My own area in Secondary, European Town, used to be a place to behold, but it's gone completely in tatters now. It's all because of the lack of maintenance. You go to England, and all the buildings that are on Oxford Street and places that we all visit were not built today. The other time I was driving somewhere in London and I saw that they were actually doing a reconstruction, if you like, but they had cut the frontage of the building, held it in place, and they were doing the construction at the back.
To keep the old
I'm telling you, to keep the old frontage. I was shocked. But it tells you they want to preserve their heritage. We would rather destroy it and spend huge sums of money to build new ones. So I guess that, like you said, going forward, I mean, I don't think this requires a national conversation at all. We just have to accept to do what is right. People who are put in positions of responsibility should just go ahead and do their job. Because ultimately, we are all the better for it. But if we go to sleep on the job, I mean, I'm sure that this Asumdwe Park is under the purview of the Parks and Gardens Department.
Right.
Yeah. Even if you drive in front of Jubilee House,
Public Works Department,
you see the nature of the grass there.
The median itself,
compared to the French embassy next door. It tells you something. One portion is very green and the other side is not
too green,
properly well kept. But these things, I mean, it doesn't take rocket science to keep them in place. So I will implore all of us, I mean, it's a collective responsibility. Everybody should do his bit so that we can build a country that we'll be proud of. Some place that we can live for our children and happily, leave this earth knowing that we have also contributed our bit. Because otherwise, what's the value? Really? I mean, you come onto this earth and ultimately you're going to leave. The only thing that is going to... Yesterday I was at a function, or 2 days ago, and it was a family event, and my elder cousin, Spio, said that, look, I mean, to make an impact, or to determine where you want to get to, write your own obituary now. Because that's the only way, what you want people to remember you for. It's the only way to go. And so I guess that we all have to brighten the little corners that we are, so that collectively...
Yeah, but you see, Brian, just to add to one, it hurts that we are sitting on gold, and yet we don't see it. And for me, like he said, I have been to Rwanda, and they took us to some county, about an hour or 2 hours drive from the capital. What did we go and see? Said he had some kin, and that's where he lived. But you left the place entranced in the story that they told you about the king and how he lived. The storyteller himself was some short, nice guy, and he could keep you spellbound for 2 hours.
And I'm sure he paid for it.
Well, we were
paid something.
Yes, but that should tell you how seriously people take these things. I'm sure my friend by now, if he's lucky, he's been to the Westminster, or not yet.
No, I haven't been.
Yeah, okay. When they are telling you the story about the British government and the parliamentary system, you don't want them to stop. But over here, I ask myself, if somebody should conduct us around the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, what stories are there? Because for them, when they are telling you the story, they are showing you artifacts, they are showing you pictures. I walk around my parliament and I don't see relics of the old. And even the old parliament house that we had, we pulled it down.
Yeah. It was a big issue then.
I mean, I do not understand what our psyche is as a nation. And consistently, we are missing the point. And then we come and say all sorts of things. Why do you think that Ghana should be the haven of tourism in Africa? Because it's all started here. We have the rich stories to be told. We are not even preserving them, like he's saying. Let alone be able to tell something tomorrow. Tomorrow, what are you telling your children when you are driving past the Independence Arch all the way to the beach side? You can't even point to the old Parliament House. I mean, it is getting to a stage where, that's why I'm talking about even a national, there should be a national consciousness. Because we are sitting on gold, and yet we are hungry. And the gold today is not the mines. The gold today in this digital age is tourism. Right? I just returned from Las Vegas. And I kept all of us who were there, we kept asking ourselves, why not Ghana taking just one small city and doing it Las Vegas? Because it's doable.
Absolutely.
It's doable.
All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at what's happening with the police men and women. The president concerned Shraj, condemning what happened and how to ensure our men in uniform do the right thing, protect lives and property. Stay with us. We're back in a minute. Right, so a lot of issues with the Ghana Police Service. The IGP has stepped in. He's assured to deal with it. The president has said reported on the find that what happened in Aswase should never happen again. And also, if we go to the Ghanaian Times this morning on page 3, policeman kills a bullion van driver. Those are the issues that got in the IGP some sleepless nights, I guess. He and his team were in Kumasi. Let's start a conversation. The stories are too known for me to recount them. Honorable Mesa, let me start here with you. First of all, let's begin from Kumasi. Now, the government says a 5-man committee to look into. There's been calls for it, so government heeding to the voice of the people.
Yeah, I think it's a response in the right direction. I mean, last week when the story broke, I recall I was on GTV, having a discussion about it. Of course, at the time, the narrative was that these were armed robbers who had engaged in some crossfire with the Ghana Police Service officers, and that had led to the death of the 6 or 7 people.
7 of them.
7. Now, subsequently, the news started coming out that, look, these are not armed robbers at all, that these are persons that are known within the communities. And the police had, mistakenly, if you like, shot them because they were pursuing some armed robbers who had attacked some bus earlier. So I think it's appropriate for some thorough investigation to be conducted. Of course, knowing the history of the police investigating themselves and, as it were, invariably exonerating their own, I think that it is appropriate for some independent commission to set up to conduct that investigation. So I think that the present decision to set up a 5-member committee that does not include officers from the police service.
The Ghana Police Service.
Yeah, absolutely. It's intended to get to the bottom of this matter so that appropriate, if you like, measures, if the need for some compensation for these persons who were killed,
Is that to show a mistrust of the police investigation system?
Well, I guess that we live here, and like I always say, unless you want to pretend to be an ostrich, even the most recent one that I recall, the Joy FM reporter.
The Latif issue.
Yeah. We're not getting to the tail of it, because clearly the sense that I get, speaking for myself, is that the police are trying to protect their own. Because there were video footages of the incident, but I'm hearing something different, that, they cannot even identify the police officer who meted out that brutality on the journalist. And I think that completely is unacceptable. I mean, every police brutality ought to be condemned. And I think that the IGP and the police command should, as it were, to instill some public confidence in the institution, hold their own who flout the law accountable. It cannot be the case that, if others take the law into their own hands, the police, rightfully so, because they are mandated to, as it were, apprehend and ensure that those persons are brought to book, would go ahead and execute their work. But when persons within their own fold, engage in acts that clearly are untoward, they do not want to hold those persons to account. I'm glad that the Midlands situation one has been, because public condemnation. Right. I mean, I'm not the type who opens every video that is sent on my phone, because I mean, if I show you the content on my you'll be amazed. So I didn't watch it until subsequently I saw the feedback on social media, and I then went back to watch the video, and I was scandalized. I mean, how could you? I mean, even if it is the lady who has done some wrong that you think you want to, administer some instant justice on her, she's holding a little baby, for crying out loud, and you disregard that. And so I was very excited when I heard that some sanction has been imposed. The gentleman has been interdicted, and of course, I am only hoping that, as we've all said, as I've said here, the IGP would ensure that this gentleman is punished appropriately to serve as a deterrent to his colleagues who may want to do such things in the future.
Before I go to George, since there seemed to be a mistrust of the police investigative system. Now, the government statement that said that it is taking over the probe did not ask the police commander in the region to step aside. You think that would have an accepted report if it still remains in office?
Well, I'm sure that the terms of reference that is given to the committee will indicate, and of course, they will set the parameters for the conduct of the investigation. And if it is not a police investigative entity, then they can only recommend for instructions, absolutely, for that to be made, so that we can get to the bottom of it. But I think that it was an unfortunate situation, if indeed what it is that is being reported, that these guys were not armed robbers. Of course, like I said last week when I heard the news, and we know of armed robbers exchanging guns with the police and gunshots. Even though we'd all wish that in those circumstances you shoot to maim rather than kill. When their lives is in danger, I guess that some of these things are unavoidable. But to the extent that these guys are clearly not who the police claim to be, it is important that we find some definitive conclusions as to what it is.
What happened that day. I'm grateful. George, so certainly this is the right step government has taken.
Well, I would say that generally we are all happy that at least, if for nothing at all, we don't have another group of policemen superintending over this matter and coming back to tell us what they think or what they supposedly found. Because if you've dealt with the police, and I know my colleague is being a lawyer, is very, au fait with how police people behave. They are always in a hurry to come to the aid of their own and exonerate them. And if you do a content analysis of reportage over the past 2 years or so, or 3 years, you will find consistently that these stories surface and then suddenly you don't hear anything about them. There are things you can report to peeps, and in fact, the number of times you have to go there, you'll be so frustrated that you don't even want to follow up the story anymore. People are maimed every day, people are beaten as a result of, and if you see a police man beating a civilian over something, and sometimes just exchanges. Look, and there was a guy who was eating by the roadside, and there was a police barrier. And I think that he saw that the police were intimidating people and taking money. So he took out his phone to video the beating that he was subjected to. And his phone smashed and things like that. And you report at the command level, and you keep going. It's as though you have committed a crime. What point I want to make is this. What is the level of training that we give to our police people? Because you see, if you tie in all the 3 stories that you find, there's something at the heart of it all. People are dead. People are maimed. People are maltreated. Is that the psyche that the police have? Is that how they are trained? Is that how they are treated? Because they are supposed to be protecting life and property. But take the whatever.
Yes, the bullion van.
The bullion van. Driver. What business would a policeman have in clearing the way? Is it that it was accidental discharge, or that the gun he shot somebody? We must find out. And when you see a crowd, and you're a sensible policeman, me, if I'm a policeman and I see a crowd of like 1,000 people, I'll take to my heels rather than want to engage them. Because they will deal with you. By the time you are through with shooting 5, once they'll tear you into pieces. So sometimes the decisions they make are not professional decisions, and you want to ask yourself several questions. This armed robbery, this what is it called?
The Kumasi killings.
The Kumasi killings. So if they were not, and I don't intend for one moment to politicize this matter, but if they were not people who were even known to be members of a certain political party, that they were identified by the MCE, that we know these people, we may just have run with the story that they were armed robbers, and innocent lives would have just been lost. But the point is this: there were 7 people. I hear it was daylight, right? It wasn't in the night. So what did the police see?
According to police, they flagged them to stop, they did not.
And so what? And I ask that question all the time. Sometimes the police are not even able to communicate. And I find that every problem, a problem all the time. Why? Because sometimes you are driving in the night. Like me, I do the voter regime. But yesterday I left my constituency at 7:30 in the evening. I was getting to Accra
don't get the robbers to start tracking you.
Oh no, they can't. If they should meet me. What happened? You get to a police, and there were about 8 or 9 police stops on the way. And when you get there, the torchlight is like this. You don't even know what that means. Whether it is for you to proceed as they want to do sometimes, or it's for you to stop for them to search you. So let's assume that I misunderstand the torchlight and I move, and then you shoot at me because you say you claim that you stopped me. And you know what I mean? You see, we should learn to do things properly. We may possibly even have, you see the way we do the DVLA thing, where you are going to a driving test, you are told if there's a triangle here, maybe the police should have something like that for signals. Because for me, I always consistent. Sometimes I ask, what are you saying? And then they get angry, say, my friend. And when a policeman says my friend, it's in a negative order. And they are, you know, you meet policemen and they are quick-tempered. They don't even want to listen to you. And this brings me back to the Midland matter.
Quickly, let's wrap up our conversation.
Did you watch the video carefully?
I have watched the video.
You have to. Yes, and I keep asking myself, what did the policeman intended to do? What was his intention? Was his intention to drive the woman out of the building or to give her sound beating? Because consistently, he wasn't making an effort to get her out. Was interested in slapping her in the face and boxing her and beating her. And like my brother said, I got, in fact, I only thank God because that place is a place I'm familiar with. I go there very often. Not the bank, but there are offices, other offices. And I used to work, you know, my office used to be in that building. If I were anywhere near, maybe I would have died because there was no way I would watch a policeman do that and not go in there and do something. Because you see, as I sat back, I just kept thinking, my sister, my wife, somebody I know, being subjected to this because she went into a bank, whether after how many times haven't you been let into the bank when they has been closed? Because you are MP, or because
or he has money to deposit.
And so, because she's a poor woman going for 270, she must be treated this way. No excuse will suffice. And you know, let's get very careful. Ghanaians, we are getting to a stage where we are becoming a concert nation, and we should be very careful. How? Why am I saying this? You see, when this thing has happened, yes, a lot of people have condemned it. But a lot of people have turned into jest, simply because, and the reaction is that, oh, Peace FM, 40,000, this. All those things water down the seriousness of this offense. We should be united as a nation to deal with the policeman and the police institution itself. That is the only way we can.
That process
that is, you see, when there is a national show of anger to a certain extent, then the institution itself begin to check itself and know the level at which they will come after them. The way we are going, when some people are saying that, well, I have some money here today, I'm going to town to the policeman so that he beats me up so that I can get, you know, you read all those.
The joke about it.
I think that I don't like the joke part. We should deal with this, everybody involved in the chain, so that never again, like the president said, never again should we.
Should it happen?
Some of these things.
It's a wrap up for me. I'm grateful.
I thought that we were going to have time to talk about it.
Yes, we didn't have time, unfortunately. But I guess it's just now come. So when the details are out, we will certainly have time to talk about it.
Because I saw some documents flying about over the weekend. I haven't heard the minister issue any formal statement.
Yes.
But I guess that is a creative way of resolving a problem that clearly is unavoidable.
And of course.
But
it comes with challenges too.
Yes, it does.
Of the funding.
Well, it does.
But you were forewarned that if you don't do these things gradually, this is how we end up.
Fantastic. So right. Point is this. The NBC position is that do it gradually and keep 100,000 people away from school until you resolve all the problems before you get them in. That's the effect.
No, that is not the effect.
Okay?
That is not the effect. The effect is
precisely
that
the effect.
Do it on the lines of social justice.
This is not cost based. It's not a cost issue.
No.
It's the infrastructure.
Listen, that is what I'm saying. If you did it on social justice basis,
we will not keep 120 people, 20,000 people out of school.
We'll certainly have time to talk about it.
No, it is not.
We'll certainly have time to talk about it.
Yes, absolutely.
The double intake and.
He and I are not going to be
No, we'll talk about it. I mean, this is an issue that we won't die today. All right, I'm grateful. Honorable Rajepa Mesa and then Honorable George Lowe. I'm grateful for your Monday morning. Stay with us a small after this.
Keep people out. Yeah, you want quality.
All right, so I have a copy of the Daily Graphic in my hand, and read graphic and win 1,000 cities. That's what's here from today. I'm sure if you're looking for some money to start some small business, this is what you have to do. Just grab a copy. And those who are partnering Daily Graphic or the Graphic Group are also on the back page here. So this morning, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. How to read a Daily Graphic and make money. You're not only adding to your knowledge or picking information, but you are making money reading the Daily Graphic. My guest this morning, Director of Marketing and Sales, Graphic Communications Group, Mr. Franklin Sowa is here. Good morning. Hope you're doing great.
Good.
I'm sure we'll be taking the money before you leave, because we started reading this morning. And then one of the partners involved in the whole process, the Traco, is also here. George Osorio is the Director of Marketing and Sales, the Traco Real Estate Company. George, good morning too.
Good morning to you. Good morning to all Ghana.
Thanks for joining us. Frankly, let me start the conversation right with you. So, pick Daily Graphic, read, and make 1,000 cedis a day. Is that it?
That's it, but that's not entirely the full package.
Okay, tell me the full package.
The full package is a package in terms of prices, almost about 1 million Ghana cedis.
Right.
For the period of the next 6 months. So from today to 22nd of January 2019, every day, a reader of any of our publications, Daily Graphic, the Graphic Business, the Mirror, Graphic Showbiz, Graphic Sports, our online platforms, you have an opportunity to win 1,000 cedis every day. We have coupons on page 2.
So you not only read it, but also us who are also listening.
Yes, you go online. Okay. You go online, you engage us online, you win some points. You go to our publications on page 2. There are coupons there that you need to populate. And the exciting thing about this is that every coupon you need to input your digital address system, which is part of what we want to give back to Ghana, because we realize that it's one of the rules to create excitement, to make it easy for us to access our homes and then everywhere else. So yes, you need to input your digital address system. You subscribe to this promotion by texting WIN to 2018.
Right.
Then you subscribe. You will get notifications on the next steps to take. As many coupons, of course, as you are able to populate and drop in the drop bins that are located at all Graphic Communications Group offices nationwide, and then at selected locations near you in the communities, you are supposed to drop these coupons in the boxes. In terms of prices, every day there's 1,000 cedis.
Talk about the prices. Let me get to George. George, why the Traco Index?
Well, from the beginning, our dream was to make the largest promotion that Ghana ever had in order to celebrate our 25th anniversary. So Traco Limited started 25 years ago. And then we realized that Graphic was the perfect partner. So we started off thinking of awarding one apartment, but then on the talks of the group, we decided that that would be good, but 2 would be twice as much greater. So we decided to go for the second apartment as well, and here we are. And it's just the beginning of a long-term partnership, awarding everybody in the readers on the Daily Graphic, I believe.
So it's a beautiful marriage.
It is.
It is.
Actually, it was the word we used. I used it from the beginning to be I actually proposed.
You know. So George did the proposal, and then Franklin said, I accepted. And the two are together. Daily Graphic, Traco. Now, Frank, let me again come. Let's now deal with the prices. Quickly, continue from there.
Yes, so as I mentioned earlier, so we have 1,000 cedis for our readers daily. We have 5,000 cedis for 2 people every month. We have 1 iPhone going out every month. Of course, 10 Samsung smartphones going out every month. After 90 days, one of the 2-bedroom penthouses will be going out. So after 90 days, the first one goes out. And then after the next 90 days, which is after the 180th day, the second one goes out.
Okay, now these are mouth-watering. Go over them again. Let's viewers get to
So 1,000 Ghana cedis daily.
From today?
From today. 5,000 cedis for 2 people at the end of every month.
Right.
There's 1 iPhone for 1 person at the end of every month. There's 10 Samsung smartphones at the end of every month. After day 90, 2-bedroom penthouse, Traco Community 25 is out for grabs.
The big one.
The big one.
And it continues till day number 180. And then the second house also goes out.
I see. George, you made the proposal. You've already told us about DevTraco 25 years now, and so joining graphic into this. What are the benefits? Those who win the houses, what kind of house are we looking at?
Okay. Community 25 is the latest challenge from DevTraco Limited, the first company of the group. And we are already there with barely, almost a little bit more even than 1,000 families living there already. And we are roughly at 80% of our the final, and we still have roughly more 400 units available now. And as we develop our strategy, we decided to go big and to announce the world that we are now proudly a Ghanaian company with 25 years, and ISO certified, the first development company in Ghana to be ISO certified, etc. But this is known, this is widely, our brand notoriety is there, but we wanted to do even better. And so we decided to partner with the largest communication group there is. And this was brilliant from the beginning. And they welcomed us, the idea, and we even developed together because we came with a small idea and they suggested a different one. So here we are, sharing with everybody the Community 25 development. It's called DevTraco Courts, and this is the beginning. Let's hope.
I am going to start reading Daily Graphic from today. Do and make sure I get it. But Franklin, so there are a lot of promotions out there. How different is this one from those that are out there?
The difference is, number one, the credibility and authenticity of the Graphic Communications Group brands, the quality of content that we come up with in each of our publications, and the fact that we are here to make reading part of the culture of our people, knowing that the reading habits are dropping and all that. That is a greater benefit to us and to readers, and of course to Mother Ghana, because we believe that if we are well informed and we all understand issues around us, we will all contribute a little bit to improve the narrative around national development, around education quality, in terms of language, in terms of writing skills and all that. So we put in all our brands, apart from, of course, the junior graphic, which we believe is for kids, and so the kids are not supposed to be participating in this particular program. But all our other publications, the Daily Graphic, the Mirror, Graphic Business, Graphic Sports, Graphic Showbiz, we have coupons in each of these publications, and you just need to populate your name, your phone number, and your digital address system, and then just drop it in the drop bins that we've located, strategic locations, and you win points.
Right away.
Yes, you just win points. So as many coupons as you drop, improve your chances of winning. The codes that we'll place on devtraco.com, graphic.com.gh, vocacom.net websites also attracts points. You just access the short codes and then SMS it to 2018. And then, of course, you win more points as well. And then there will be an SMS engagement alongside to also drive more education around the promotion, more education around general knowledge, just to make it a bit more exciting, and also to get a number of people to participate in this promotion. And it's all currently on Vodafone.
On Vodafone, great. So apart from those below 18, everyone else qualifies.
Everyone else.
The president qualifies too.
Everyone else, apart from
if you are
staff,
below 18,
apart from staff and our partners, and then our families.
We'll wrap up with the partners, but let me give George a last word. George, you are excited. So last words, the listeners, viewers are watching you. They want to listen to a final assurance from you to partake in this, and then I give Franklin the last word again.
Yeah. DevTraco is a trustworthy company. I would say that everybody in the country knows DevTraco, and we are credible. And the product we're putting in, there are apartments. There are normal apartments inside Community 25 with the quality, with the brand DevTraco, with the stamp DevTraco on. So people can apply, and this kind of record that we have for transparency was one of the key issues I've addressed the graphic group, saying we need an external auditor to verify all this. We need the government to be involved in the questions of the NLA to assure that all that we do is absolutely transparent. And thanks to them, they listened, and they even added more. They always do. So they always do add more to what we ask. It's a pleasure to see that. So all the transparency of the quality is there, and even the president can apply, yes. But not us, not the graphic team, families as well. Because really the purpose of this is not to trick anybody, to pretend. The purpose on our both groups is to actually give and actually improve our brand awareness and the reader basis. Therefore, if we do it, we will do it right.
I'm grateful. Frank, let me give you the last word. So your partners and in the promotion, DevTraco is here, but others are not here.
Yeah.
You can acknowledge.
So we have DevTraco, we have Vocacom as the aggregator, and they are managing the platform on which we are running the entire promotion. And they've been of tremendous support, bringing on board their expertise. And we say thank you to them. Thank you to DevTraco, our great partner. And of course, we are saying that Ghana, this is the time for us to enjoy the brands that you have known. Graphic is your household partner as far as information is concerned. So keep reading, look out for the coupon in the publications, cut out the coupon, populate it, drop it in the drop bins, participate in the SMS promo, text WIN to 2018, and enjoy the excitement. Visit the websites of DevTraco, visit the website of Graphic, visit the website of Vocacom, and access all the necessary information around the terms and conditions are published on our websites. Frequently asked questions are also on the websites. Just engage us and make sure that you benefit from this huge reward scheme.
I'm grateful. So from today, you got to pick it and let it be part of your lifestyle from today and beyond. You got great prizes. And also, if you want a house, a beautiful one, DevTraco is where to go. I'm grateful. Franklin Sowa is the Director Marketing and Sales, Graphic Communications Group. George Osorio is Director Marketing and Sales, DevTraco Real Estate Company. Grateful for your morning with us. Now let's get to take a look at some issues with development, particularly we're hitting the Upper West region, the Dafiema Busie Isa constituency, also the district, and of course that constituency's Member of Parliament is in the studio with me. Honorable Sebastian Sandari is here. Good morning. Hope you're doing great.
I'm doing great.
Thanks for your time with us. And we'll be taking you through what's happening there by way of development, issues about health, particularly that district for the past 12 years or so had no doctor. Recently, a young man came in to support the facility. The district is also trying to put up a district hospital. Things are far advanced. Exactly how do they deal with it? The general health situation in there. But let me tell you the story of how this young doctor agreed to go to the district to start work. Watch this.
Currently, you can go over a month without any medical officer attending to any single client in the district.
Roads are in deplorable state. This affects healthcare delivery. Healthcare staff would not work in the Dafiema Busie Isa district. Efforts to get a doctor have not yielded any results.
The Regional Director of Health Services recently asked one medical officer to be taking care of the district. So the arrangement is that every week he apportions 2 of his working days to attend to the clients in the district.
But this has not helped. The arrangement is not working. There is more work to be done than the number of hands. Pregnant women are most affected.
If the government should come in or the management should come in to support us with another service personnel like 2 midwives or 3, in addition to the current one, it will make work more easier.
The district worked hard at correcting this after Mission visited district authorities. District authorities took up the challenge to correct this. The advocacy started. When Mission aired the story of the plight of the Dafiema Busie Issa district, which had no doctor, one selfless doctor, Dr. Ibrahim Issa, watched the story.
During your expose, this doctor approached the district assembly and indicated his readiness to come and work with us. So we sat down with him and we agreed on certain terms. And the assembly is ready to fulfill our part of the bargaining to make sure the doctor stays to save lives. So we are ready and we are prepared to do whatever that we have agreed on to make sure he delivers.
Dr. Issa's decision to move to serve the district and Ghana came after seeing the plight of residents. He vowed to make a change.
For me, individually, I want to make a difference. I want to help people. And I also believe that when we strengthen the peripheries, then the pressure on the bigger hospitals in the cities are reduced. And then as well as the cases that go there, some of them get to the cities, they're already bad, they're not salvageable. So if you really want to touch people, you want to touch lives, I think the periphery is the place to be.
I met him already in the district. He's there to acquaint himself with the system.
The DC in particular, when I met him, he made mention of the fact that the whole district, they don't even have a single doctor. And then the plight of the pregnant women. Sometimes when they are pregnant, they decide to stay home because of the distance they have to travel. I think the closest is Nadoli or so. The distance they have to travel, it puts them off. So most of them decide to just stay home and then do traditional approaches, and then sometimes ends up in complications. So when I thought about it, I was like, this is just not, yes, at least, even if I can make a difference, at least I can tell which cases need to be referred urgently, the ones we can also handle or deal with them.
He's starting work as a district doctor. Arrangements have been completed, except a few that have to be cleared with the Ghana Health Service.
The little that we can do in our power, we've been able to do that. Making sure we secure some accommodation, making sure we secure some little logistics that he might need to work with, making sure we secure some allowance that we'll be paying him while we wait for his full clearance. All those things have been taken care of. The major challenge now, which we have also tried to address, is about his transportation. So we have written to the Director General of Ghana Health Service, and now my DC has also followed it up with another letter, and we're hoping that he will respond positively, because I know him. He is also very interested in this area. So once he gets a vehicle released to him, that makes his movement easier to be able to visit the rest of the facilities, to also build the capacity of the staff within the district.
Residents are happy. A new doctor means no referrals to Naduli or Wa and the drudgery of traveling on poor roads. This also means improved health care. The district health team is grateful to TV3 Mission. A partnership has yielded results. They want enhanced collaboration to speed up development in the district. The district, meanwhile, continue to improve infrastructure in the push for a district hospital. A laboratory and other vital structures are ready to take off. With a new doctor ready to start work, the Dafiema Busie Issa district is poised to open access to health care. Bright Nanamfo, TV3. All right, so pushing up development in the Dafiema Busie Issa district. The Member of Parliament is here, Dr. Sandari. Once again, welcome. So that's the picture of the district, your constituency struggling to get a medical. At least now there is hope. Now, paint a picture of what should happen? What has happened in terms of improving healthcare for the people?
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Bright, and I greet my constituents, Dafiama Buse Esa. And let me also thank you for undertaking this project that is yielding results for my constituency and for the benefit of the entire region and the nation as a whole. And I'm excited that the district that has been there for some years without a doctor, we are taking the process to get one. And I want to commend all the stakeholders that have put efforts together to get this young doctor to Dafiama Buse Esa, particularly the Regional Director of Health Service, the Honorable DCE, who is working very hard.
Right.
The
Honorable Sanda.
Yes, Honorable Sanda. The District Director of Health Service, Emmanuel, and then my good self, Dr. Sandari. Dafiama Buse is a classic example where we get results when stakeholders collaborate. I want to say that I was the first presiding member of the Dafiama Buse Esa, and we put up a culture. The culture is that we put development first.
Before partisanship.
Before partisanship. So if you go to the district assembly, nobody talks about partisan issues. And therefore, even before I left the assembly for parliament, we've had a development plan that it doesn't matter your party that comes to power. When you come, you continue with the development. And therefore, what you are seeing, whether in health or in education, there's a plan that is laid out that all of us have agreed that follow it when your party comes to power. And that is what we are seeing. But saying that, listening to the doctor, you know, he said, watching your clip, it touching. And he was the first to decide before he started interacting stakeholders. And for me, this is an example of a doctor that this nation should motivate. This nation, including myself, as a district, as an MP, I'm willing to do what I can to motivate this doctor. And I was actually there when we received him into the community. And everybody was excited. I was there, the DC was there, the district director was there, other stakeholders, the chiefs were there. I'm clearly looking at Dafiama Buse Esa constituency. The health system, I'll talk about the health system, still has some weaknesses that we still have to address. One, you just saw the referral system in terms of transportation. People are still using the tricycle and other things. The road is bad, which is still linked with the referral system. And then, you see, before the doctor can function effectively, we have to look at the periphery, the health centers, and the chip zones. And I just want to chip in something that will support the doctor, which has not come to your attention, but because of your project, you know, we are centering on the doctor. On the quiet, what I have also done as an MP, you know, is to look at the health centers. Before I started, if you had gone around, you'd have that in almost all the health centers, we have 5 centers, you didn't have a single medical assistant. And the doctor needs medical assistance at the health centers to refer cases to him. So while we are focusing on the bigger picture, I also took that project that I will work hard to equip the health centers. So as we are talking, you now have a medical assistant at the Dafiama Health Center. You have a medical assistant at Busé Health Center. You have a medical assistant at Fien Health Center. It's Lawit, the ISA.
2 health centers.
The ISA and Kajupiri.
Right.
ISA, that efforts are being made to, upgrade it to the status of a district hospital. There we are looking at a doctor actually going there when the facilities is complete. What is left is Kajupiri Health Center. Now, as we are talking, I'm already in line with another medical assistant that will move to Kajupiri. So that in our district, in the Fiamma Busé ISA district, you can go to any health center, then you have a medical assistant that will now feed the doctor at the hospital. That is the grand plan, and we are almost working hard to achieve that before the year ends.
So that collaboration,
Yes.
and that's what the DCE, Mr. Sanda, the district director, Emmanuel, all of been talking about. That collaboration is what is achieving the results we're seeing, particularly also with the building of the district hospital.
Right. And that is true. Just like I started, it's a district where collaboration is very strong. And if you had interviewed the DCE, you realize that during his confirmation, he had 100%. I belong to NDC, he belongs to MPP. But I was there. Together with all the assembly members, we all made sure that, please, endorse this young man. Let's join forces. Because I told them that he's a civil engineer. I'm a medical doctor. So if God has blessed us and put a civil engineer and a medical doctor together, then we have no reason to fail
your people
of the Fiamma Busé. And we are working hard that, unlike other districts or constituencies where you may go and you find a problem between the DCE and the MP and they are not working well, in the Fiamma Busé, we have a very good relationship. And because of that good relationship, we put issues together, we discuss. What I would do is to complement, because almost all the resources will go to the assembly. But as an MP, I can also do certain things that will go a long way to help develop this. And like I said, I've worked hard to get medical assistance to all the health centers, and that. Even as a new district, we are different from the other old districts if you go to Upper West. But touching on the doctor, because he's so dear to my heart.
And one key thing that the district director of health, Mr. Maris and Wook, raises is that transportation for him would have to be worked at with the Ghana Health Service. Perhaps that's an area you need to start working on quickly.
Rightly so. And we have actually started.
First written to the Ghana Health Service.
Yes.
What are the responses, and when is it likely that this would happen?
We haven't really gotten any response. But before I talk about the transportation, for me, what is important for this young doctor, which all of us will have to advocate for him, he's not on salary.
For now.
He's not even been recruited. His presence there, like I said, is the efforts of stakeholders. That because he's expressed interest to work in the district, we put efforts together to put him there. So as we talk, at the end of the month, we put efforts together, and I'm supporting that just to sustain him, to keep on moving. The question is, for how long will the MP and the Assembly continue to take care of this young doctor? And that is where I want to appeal to government. If we have identified a young doctor who is willing to sacrifice, then this nation, in terms of recruitment,
to expedite
should be
action,
considered with the quickest action that we need as a nation.
Honorable Sanda, just let me hold you on for some time. Now, the president of the weekend cut a sword or broke the ground for the construction of a major road linking the Bongo district to the rest of the country. That road is a shorter road compared to having to go through Navrongo and Paga if you want to go to the Burkina Faso, Ghana's neighbor. Now, if you turn right on getting to Bolga, you go through Bongo and then to the Bongo district, and then you move on through Balungu, Gorigo, all the way to Namu to hit the Burkina Faso border. That road will link you up. And a huge culvert on that road is what is causing the trouble. Now, vehicles are not using it because the road is not in good shape. And the assembly is losing a lot of money. Over the weekend, residents were excited. The president broke the ground for work to begin. Let's speak to the district chief executive for Bongo, Honorable Peter Ayimbisi. Just join me on the phone lines. Good morning, and grateful for your time this morning. Now, certainly Bongo district is all happy because of what happened over the weekend. Tell me about it.
Yeah, good morning, Bryce, and good morning to the channel's viewers. Let me say good morning to the paramount chief of the Bongo traditional area, Nabasalo Fuademiaro, and sub-chiefs who poured out in their large numbers to welcome to His Excellency, the President, to the Bongo district. In fact, I must say that I'm enjoying a sense of relief, very, very excited because of what happened last week Thursday in the Bongo district. I'm saying happy because that bridge that the president cut short for the construction, the bridge that links Bongo to Burkina Faso, was first constructed in 2003. And since then, that road, that culvert, that bridge, I've never seen any little maintenance since it was constructed. Over the years, the people across that part of the district kept calling on assembly, kept calling on the MP, kept calling on the government to come to their aid. All these cries fell on deaf ears. Nobody probably listened to them. That is why the bridge finally had to give up and caved in early part of this year. So when I took over office as a member of the assembly who has been working around over the years, I realized that it was going to become an important part of my development agenda. So I took it upon myself, made several calls to the federal regional engineer, did same to the regional minister, did same to the sector minister. And my honorable regional minister, Honorable Inibok, Dr. Bukari, a hard-working man, of course, also made a number of follow-ups. And eventually, the minister was on site, saw things for himself, and decided at long last to award that stretch of road on contract. So if I'm happy because a road that has been that has been in a deplorable state over several years, today we are going to get a better bridge across that place. I was worried because we were losing IGF, because that is the part that the Bongo district generates huge sums of money by way of IGF, because you know activities in every border district or border area. And because of that bridge, it was eventually cutting off the Bongo district, for them as Ghana, from Burkina Faso, from that end of the country. And that apart, there's a private university across the Namoi area, and the tutors commute daily from Bolga to Namoi area to teach, and this was creating problems for me. That apart, the Bongo district, as part of our activities to build a factory, we intend to put up a clay factory in Balungu. So these all are things that were going to be prohibited because of the road. So if I say I'm happy because I've gotten relief, and very soon, within a period of 1 year, all these roads will be fixed.
I am grateful. We'll have to wrap up here. Honorable Peter Ayimbisi is District Chief Executive for Bongo there. We'll be following closely. Mission reported on that story, and so we will be following closely how that road gets fixed and report to you. Honorable Sanda, let's wrap up our conversation. And so the health sector in your constituency getting a lot of resources. Assure us that this is not the end of it, and that more will be done to improve health in DPI. Let's wrap up on that.
Rightly so, and surely that is what I promise my people of the Fiema Buse is our constituency, and that's why they voted for me as their member of parliament. I want to assure them that we'll continue with a good collaboration. I will continue to put my resources to serve the people, to advocate for them, to ensure that there is that rapid development in Dafiama Buse Isa. And I say this and appeal to my people that let's talk development in Dafiama Buse Isa.
I'm grateful. He is a member of parliament for Dafiama Buse Isa constituency, Honorable Sebastian Sandari. We're grateful for your time. And also to you there, Honorable Nadimoro Sanda, District Chief Executive, Dafiama Buse Isa District, Emmanuel Samwook District Director of Health. Great job there in providing health for the people. Mission was brought to you courtesy or support of Star Ghana, Danida, the European Union, and UK Aid. There's more on Mission. Don't miss it every weekend. Stay right here. We have more coming up after this break. Conversation rightly. Now we're talking about writing, reading and writing. Now the goal of the Amatedu Literacy Center is to increase critical reading and writing. Very key. Now, as a result of that, young and unpublished writers are being given that opportunity to be able to do that, and then some support will come in by way of them submitting original work for consideration. And someone is put together that anthology. I'll let you know who that person is. He's a director, the Amatedu Center for Creative Writing. He's also a senior lecturer in journalism at the African University of Communications here in Accra. Good morning, Nana Champo.
Good morning, sir.
And thanks for joining us.
Very well.
So let's start the conversation this way. So you put together the whole thing, that pieces of writing into that. You did that.
It's actually the center called for submissions in March.
Right.
We had a 1 month call, and we're inundated with over 800 stories. And we had to pay it
From
down
Ghana?
Yeah, from basically Ghana, yeah.
See, 800.
Yeah. Incredible.
That's
And then initially we thought we'd get like 100 or something. And so we had to bring in more people, literati, to come and help to edit. And then we managed to settle on 14 excellent works by new writers, which we put together for the Adabraka anthology. You know.
So that's it, Adabraka, story from the center of the world.
Because it's all based about Accra and the Accra region. So, yeah.
That's it. How exciting is this?
It's incredible. I mean, like, you can see some of the blurbs that written, like, Ivo Ajmendia, the Honorable, he's like an ambassador here, and he says that it's like the first rainfall after a dehydrated Hamilton season. You know, Ghanaians have not been writing, and people are already reading. But now we're trying to offer something about Ghanaians, for Ghanaians, by Ghanaians. You know? So this is really exciting.
Very, very exciting. Yeah. Now, so this document is out there, and the idea is to continue to encourage people to read and write.
Correct.
Is it achieving the intended?
We're actually launching it tomorrow. At
right.
AUCC forecourt at 10 o'clock in the morning. So all 14 writers with other persons in the literary
will
world
be there.
And hopefully the TV3 will be there as well. And we're going to launch the book. Then after that, we'll do regional and central launchings in smaller areas, university campuses, districts, so we can get readers to meet the writers. You know, which is the whole point of this. Yeah.
Do you get a signal that what you did, resulting in this, has rekindled that eagerness to write from the
at least for just putting an advert on social media out, asking for stories about this specific region, if that can generate this response, I think there are a lot of people who are ready to write, and there are a lot of people who are ready to read. And the idea is to get the right literature so people can find that they are connected to the content. You know.
Is there anything stopping people from writing?
I do not think so. Of course, there are the money issues, the publishing issues,
so writing and publishing.
And distribution and all that. But basically, if the book has content that people want to read, you can be assured that people will read. If the language level meets with people's literacy, you know they would read. You know, but sometimes we have books that have allusions about other areas, other concepts that have nothing
readers
to do.
Have no idea
about, and you expect them to read. You know, they like soaps because they deal with human condition. So let's write about human condition in Ghana using Ghanaian places, situations, events, sensibilities, and I believe people will read.
So readers get exhausted when you're reading about snow when they have never seen snow anywhere before.
You're saying that, you know what I mean? Then you expect them to be excited about it.
Right.
But this about Accra, and this the first time, like Dave Agbenu said in his blurb, the first time that an anthology has been put together by this capital, and it takes it from history, like Hunubi, and it comes to contemporary about issues we're dealing with, and then it talks about future, because he would do some incredible thing about Accra in the next century. You know, it's really ridiculous.
So the themes are varied.
Because there was no control on the theme, so they just the only unifying idea was to write about the region of Accra. You know, and so like subsequently we're going to do the north after this. After it succeeds, hopefully we're doing the north, and we call it Larabanga, and that's tourists and laws from the northern.
I need to get a copy. The 14 people.
Yes, ma'am.
What happens to them?
Hopefully this will be the beginning for them to become bona fide writers, because tomorrow we're trying to introduce
So they're
them
going to
the
be
world.
supported.
At the moment, the best we can do is to make this book popular, to get every Ghanaian to read it, and to understand that the Edu Center and the AUCC outfit is just there to promote reading and writing. If we're promoting reading, it means we have to get the books available to people to read. So we encourage a lot more people to invest in publishing more copies of these, so we can spread it around Ghana, get some common things to talk about, you know, and then that way the authors themselves will become independent in themselves to be able to write their own books. We would have created a foundation for reading anyway. And if for nothing at all, if we're not able to create new writers, new readers, at least we can reinforce the reading habit among those who read already, you know, by giving them literature that seeks
that will appeal to them.
That's right.
Tell them about their own environment.
Themselves,
So this is something that I'm sure will not, like you said, you're not ending with the launch tomorrow. You're doing regional.
Hopefully with support of media and everybody else, we hope to go region by region. And as we spread the Amataidu idea concepts, we spread the book, we spread reading, we spread writing, we spread. We need to increase literacy, critical reading, creative writing. That's what we're all about.
Grateful. I remember her very well. That's what the literature book I read way back in school, so many years ago. The Amataidu story. The Cape Coast Ghost, the Dilemma Ghost, quite interesting there. Right, so the big launch is tomorrow. And it's at which venue? At the AUCC forecourt. Open invitation?
Open invitation. Everybody is there. The founder will be there, who has been pushing for this for a long time.
Right.
Amataidu herself will be there. The professor will be there.
Oh, see, that would
the
be
mayor
lovely.
of Accra will be there, because it's about the general education service. Hopefully they should be there. And basically Ghana Association of Writers, Ghana Painting, we're bringing everybody together, you know, so as under one envelope of like literacy, we should be able to move forward, you know, and bring everybody along.
I'm so grateful for your time. Nana Champon is the director, Amataidu Center for Creative Writing. He's also a senior lecturer in journalism at the African University College of Communications. Once again, grateful for joining us. We'll be there tomorrow, TV3, to take a look at the launch. Great stuff put together there. The woman herself will be there. The opportunity to meet her. All other big persons in writing will also be there. We will certainly be there. That's how we're wrapping up the show for this month. We're grateful you spend the whole morning with us. We're back same time tomorrow, 6 a.m. But stay right here on TV3. Have a good morning. My name is Brighton Anamfa. I was here with Dr. Nana Machiman. Good morning once again.